instead of the 11111.
You used to do all ones.
I should have gotten a cough drop while I was there, but.
Nicola. 19, 18, 17.
No, I'll do the best I can. Can people see us yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds.
5 seconds.
3, 2, 1. Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Season 5 of Eye on the Future with Lady Fontaine and co-hosts Jim Elkin and Paul LaPlaca. To schedule a reading or learn more about Lady Fontaine, also known as America's #1 love psychic, be sure to check out Lady Fontaine's website at ladyfontaine.com. Now, here's Lady Fontaine with co-hosts Jim Elkin and Paul LaPlaca.
Good evening and welcome to Eye on the Future. This is Season 6, Episode 3, and today is Thursday, August 19th, 2021. I am your host, Paul LaPlaca, along with our in-house spiritual wizard, Jim Elkin, and our resident psychic extraordinaire, life and relationship expert, Lady Fontaine. She's also known as America's #1 love psychic. A warm welcome to those watching us live on social media platforms like Facebook and YouTube. And those of you watching us on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button below to be notified of our new shows. We welcome your comments below the live streaming. If you're watching on Facebook, please like our show and be sure to visit Eye on the Future Radio Show, the page for details where and when to view the show, the specials, discounts, love, relationship, prosperity, and manifesting tips, and much more. Don't forget to follow us on these platforms. In order for us to bring you these shows streaming live, we need your help by liking and following us on these various platforms. Since we are live streaming, for those of you who don't know who we are, James Elkin is our healing expert. Say hi, Jim.
Hi, Jim.
And of course, our lovely psychic and phenomenal relationship expert and intuitive life coach, Lady Fontaine. In case you're wondering, she's the one with the pink headphones. Hi, Jill.
Hello.
Not pink over here.
Oh, are you now me?
No, I'm just not pink over here.
Oh, all right. I
get
am.
confused.
Remember, if you miss a show, you'll be able to catch up at any time on our YouTube channel, on our Facebook page, or listen to it on Blog Talk Radio, iTunes, or any podcast distributor. Our YouTube channel and Facebook page is called Eye on the Future Radio Show. And we've got things falling apart here.
Oh, lovely. Well,
You've
it's
got
been
a
one of those
jam-packed
days
show
already.
So stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
We'll be taking calls throughout the show, so please be patient. We'll do our best to get you all in the air to answer your questions. And if you call in, you'll be able to listen to us live while waiting to get on the air. Our phone lines are open. Our switchboard is lighting up, as always.
It is.
And we want to hear from you. We'll be taking your calls throughout the show at 319-527-6216. So call us tonight on the intriguing topic of the fear of commitment. Call us with your questions and problems regarding this week's hot topic on the fear of commitment, or you can call us on any other topics you would like to discuss. We're here to answer your questions. Don't forget to follow us here on Blog Talk Radio, too. If you wish to schedule a reading or a life coaching session with Lady Fontaine, then please visit the website, ladyfontaine.com, and she can answer all your questions and concerns. Our last piece of business before we bring on Jim and Lady Fontaine is to remind you, we're still looking for a social media person to help us with graphics and posting on social media. We're a great team, and we would love to have you part of our show. This opportunity includes on-air time if desired. Our most importantly requirements are that you have a great home office, fast internet, and you're good with technology, and have an upbeat and fun personality. If interested, please email us at radioshow@ladyfontaine.com. That's radioshow@ladyfontaine.com. And either Lady Fontaine or her assistant Star will get back to you. There's currently no compensation for this opportunity, but it's great experience, lots of fun, and it looks good on your resume. And one more piece of business. Welcome Mike to our team. He's our call screener tonight. He's a good friend of Jill's, and he did such a great job screening our last show that we've invited him back. And Jill might have done a little begging here and there, too. And we hope he sticks around. Thanks, Mike. Since the show is your brainchild, Lady Fontaine, I want to turn the mic over to you. But before I do, how are you feeling? I know last show you were slightly under the weather, and because of that and the hectic schedule, we had to reschedule. And you were under the threat of tornadoes. Let us know.
Oh, please.
how you're
Oh, my
doing.
God. Well, thank God the weather has settled down. We're having bad weather today, but not anything like the other night. And you guys were off the hook. The last time we lost Paul. But the last time there was tornado warnings down here, you guys pulled me through. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
what happened is Pete and I were on the phone, and he was doing a remote healing because I had just gotten that shot in my shoulder, and I was in so much pain that he said, let me do a remote adjustment. And then all of a sudden the sirens start going off on my phone.
Oh no.
The tornado warnings. So he stayed with me like the whole day. He was texting me, calling me. He was wonderful. He was absolutely wonderful.
That's nice. That's
So
nice.
from the tornado standpoint, I'm in the clear. I'm still dealing with some sort of sinus thing, but I'll live. But when Paul gets back, I'm not sure where he is.
I'm still here. I don't want you to see me struggling with all this equipment that's falling all over here. I've got an iPad mounted. I got the light. I got 2 computers. I'm almost
Oh
there.
my God.
I know
I know.
what I'm doing here.
And he's in his pajamas, so we don't want to see that.
All right, well, tell me when you're settled, because I am diverting from our norm. Okay, there you are.
Okay.
All right, now I checked before the show this afternoon. Tell me when you're settled. I want you to get settled.
I'm settled.
Before I
settled.
do
I
this.
can multitask.
Okay. All right, so I checked our email before the show to see if we had any social media applicants, and we don't have anybody who really knows what they're doing yet. But we got a really beautiful email, and I will forward it to you after the show. But I didn't want to forward it to you because she asked some questions, and I want to ask you these questions live on the air. The first question is from Caitlin, and I've added to it a little bit. But
You've
let me tell
enhanced
you
it,
this.
have you?
Yes, I've enhanced it a bit. But you don't have to answer it. I mean, especially Jim. You could plead the fifth if you would prefer. The second question is something that came up for me this week, and I really want your input. And then I'm going to tell you the story behind it. And then the third question was also from Caitlin. So you ready?
Ready.
Okay.
Okay. So first question is she opened the email to us saying that she loved the show on the art of astrology. Jim, she said you brought up things that she never knew. She was very intrigued by it, and she was tremendously excited to see that show. Now, she made a comment that I had asked you on the show if you believed in astrology, and she said she was a little bit surprised that you were a little bit like, yeah, I know there's something there or something like that.
Sure.
So her question to you is, do you believe in psychics? Now, you don't have to answer. It's a loaded question if you don't want to. Okay.
I have to say yes. There's been too many times that I have seen psychic phenomena happening and no good explanation. I've watched psychics work and I've seen them talk about things like, oh, I've never been in the house, but it's down next to the piano, behind the cupboard, that's behind, next to the stairwell, and they're just like directing people right to something that somebody's, channeling. It's very interesting. Too much detail, too unlikely to be, what the doubters always call this generic stuff that everybody would say yes to. It's a little beyond that. So I have to say definitely. I'm not going to say all psychics I believe in, but I'm going to say I believe in psychic phenomena, definitely.
All right. Okay. So then the way I was going to expand on that was, do you believe I'm psychic?
Do I believe you're psychic? Yes.
Yes. And how long have we known each other?
Oh, what is it, 30 years?
Yeah, 30 years.
Well, it can't be that long because then you weren't born yet.
I'm 39.
Oh,
I
I'm sorry. You're only 10 years old.
so-
That's right. When I met you,
Yes,
I forgot.
like I was working on Wall Street when I was very, very young. What can I tell you? I'm very talented. So those were the questions that I wanted to add on, just to see. I was amazed by that because, I said to myself when I read her email, I don't know if he believes in psychics. I know you've never doubted anything that I've ever said to you.
Yeah.
And when we've worked together in investigations and stuff, even when we talk about things here and I start picking up, physical things, you'll say, oh, and then you'll feed me with add this to it and add that to it. So I know you're depending on me to be able to pick up that energy in a certain way, but I didn't know how you were going to respond to it. I didn't know if that would be a loaded question.
Geez,
Paul, you're not getting off the hook because I'm going to ask him the same question. But Jim, what were you going to say?
So what were the questions if I had said no?
They would have been basically the same question.
Oh, okay.
I didn't have an alternate, if he says this, then go there. If he says this, then go there. I didn't have that.
All right.
Calling lady. The work that you do, because
Thank you.
it's been life changing. So it's really cool. But when we're in the middle of it, I can't really differentiate from what would be your intuition and your schooling and therapy or psychology, as opposed to what your spirits, your guides are telling you. So when we're doing the work, it's very seamless. What you're telling me and how we approach certain problems and work through issues. It's hard to say where it begins and ends because it's very cohesive and it's very integrated.
You had referred someone to me. I don't want to give out too much information. I don't know what I can say or can't say. And when I was doing a session with her the other day, I was scanning her energy and I wrote down what I picked up. And when she told me, I actually held it up for her to see exactly what I wrote down. Did she tell you that?
No.
Yeah. And it was spot on. It was really spot on.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, it is. So I don't know if you, because she asks me things and more on that note. Not that we're not working on her stuff. We are. But, that was interesting because I nailed the age and the subject to the T, and it wasn't like anything that anybody would know. And I thought that was interesting because I asked for her permission to actually scan her energy while she was doing some inner work, and I came up with something, and she said it was a real biggie.
Wow.
So, yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Talk to our mutual friend.
Yeah. Well, again, I don't know what I should say or shouldn't say. All right, so this other topic, this is totally different. I want to ask you a question because there's something that I talk about when I'm talking about relationships on these shows. I've said this often, and I've said that respect is earned. It's not given freely.
Right.
And trust, it's the same thing. Do you agree with that or disagree with it? Jim, let me start with you.
I usually start off assuming that someone is going to be trustworthy and give them their chance. And when they prove that wrong, I mean, I'm not going to dump everything on somebody that I just met, but, I will just assume that I can trust them. And then when I find out that's wrong, then that's withdrawn, at least to some level, to the level that I believe I can trust that person.
Okay. And Paul, what's your opinion?
Restate the question because
Trust and respect. Is that given freely or is it earned?
It depends on the situation for me, but most of the time, respect needs to be earned, and it's usually a mutual thing where when you show respect, your expectations is that it's returned. So I have a tendency when people demand respect from me, it's kind of it depends on who it is, but it's like you have to earn it. There are certain situations where it's a given. Like, you respect your teachers, you respect somebody who's trying to do a job that needs to direct a bunch of different people. So there's certain times where automatic respect comes in when it's safety, when it's an impossible job. Like I think I told you during one of our sessions, I struggled with my parents because when I was in high school, I didn't respect them. As I'm your father, and you'll respect me. And I'm like, well, you kind of have to earn my respect by, showing me respect. So it's hard. It depends on the situation and who you're dealing with, whether it's given freely,
Right. Well, I'm going to tell you why I'm asking you this question. I have a friend who's a psychologist in the Atlanta area, and he and I went to school together. And we've reconnected several years ago, and he happened to tell me the other day that he watched one of our shows. And I don't remember if it was in the show that I said this or just, he and I talked. So I don't know if it was just in dialogue, but he said something like, I watched your show. It was very interesting. I was intrigued by it. And then he said, so is trust earned like time? And I thought about that, and my gut response is always yes. I think in a relationship and any situation, if you don't invest the time and you don't show that you're trustworthy, I always felt it was like a wash. But when he said it, let me tell you what he said. He said to me, sometimes offering trust as a cornerstone in a relationship is, like a beautiful thing or something. I don't remember his exact words. And that resonated with me tremendously. So I really pondered it, and I did a lot of inner, work on it. And then I spoke to some of my friends that are either psychologists or therapists, and everybody said the same thing. And in essence, what they said was, nobody has to earn trust. This blew me away. If you don't trust somebody, then the person who doesn't trust. So Jim was right on this. If you don't trust someone, that means you don't trust yourself, and you don't trust the universe or God or fate or faith or whatever to provide and watch and take care of you.
Yeah.
And that really resonated with me. And I've given it a lot of thought, and I've changed some of my belief processes due to that little word that he said to me. I mean, I don't think he meant to be profound. I think he was just asking me a question. I must have said on the air, well, trust is earned. It's not given freely. And he commented on that, and that has changed my whole philosophy, because I thought of what a beautiful thing to be able to give trust to someone. And I talked to my trauma therapist about it, and she said that it is really an empowering thing to do, and you have to be able to trust yourself that you can handle. If somebody isn't trustworthy or acts like a jerk, you'll survive it.
Right.
And
No,
it's
I
not
think
so
that's really profound, like you're saying. It's in the beginning of a relationship.
right.
I feel like if you enter into a relationship equally, you're both rolling the dice and you're trusting and hoping
Yes.
that you're both
Yes.
going to take care of each
Yes.
other. So that is a wonderful gift, and it's a
Oh, my
wonderful way to
God.
start a relationship.
Yes.
But when you're in a long-term relationship, that trust can be broken, and it does need to be earned back. So I feel like you can't keep on giving trust freely. Once it's broken, somebody needs to put the effort in. Like even with my child, who's 12 now, we trust him during the school day not to be on his computer on video games. So when he screws that up, and it's like, okay, well, you've broken our trust, and it's going to take a while to earn it back. So until that time comes, you don't get to have your iPad in the room with you during the school day, because that's where he was doing video games when he should have been in class. So I feel like it's all over the place, where it's like, yeah, you should give trust freely when you're both equally investing in a relationship. But if it's long term and someone breaks that trust, I don't feel like it should be freely given back. You have to be able to.
I agree with that.
You know.
And I believe that's a whole different topic. And we should actually do a show on that, because that's a hard road back.
Sure.
It really is a hard road back, but it's not impossible depending on the people involved.
Yep.
But that's that was a great response.
Yeah.
All right, so I want to get to the third question that Caitlin asked, which it was kind of a fun question. Again, we never had anybody ask questions. She wants to know from all of us, what qualities do all three of us look for in a partner? So who wants to start? I'm going to go last. I didn't write down what my answers are. Mine is, I'm going to just give it to you off the top of my head.
Extempore. Thank you. What qualities
okay.
are you looking?
What's important to you?
What's important to me? I haven't started a relationship in a long, long time, so it's hard to answer.
No, you've been married. My God, I remember being at your wedding 25 years ago or something.
20 years ago, yeah.
20 years ago?
Yeah, a little over that.
In San Francisco. Francisco. Yep.
So anyway, I would be looking for some similar interests and some areas that we can support each other. Areas of conflict have to be resolved by, speaking out that is no man's land. Just don't go there. Just don't go there.
Well, yeah, like our differences in politics. You weren't going to lure me in. You were not going to lure me in. Right. He tried. Did you see that on Facebook? He tried to lure me in, and I wouldn't go there. I was, no. Not happening.
I was wondering why you didn't respond.
I refused. Where would we get to? Really? Where would we get to? Nowhere. So it's not worth going there. So ignore the things where you have opposing viewpoints.
Well, you gotta ignore, but be respectful of them. It's a person behind that, and that person has needs and reasons for the decisions that they've made about their beliefs. And those needs and reasons are the things to pay attention to, not the beliefs themselves. So, and you're giggling.
I'm only laughing because you brought up Trump, this and that, and and you were the one probably around 2016, or maybe, when Trump won the first time. You were the one who put up something and said, old Indian quote, the left wing and right wing are part of the same bird. Okay. I will never forget that. Okay. And I have reposted that on different occasions. Mm-hmm. But I think we do forget that.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I try not to be disrespectful in any way in any comments that I write. I hope I wasn't being disrespectful in your mind. I was?
Well, I'll tell you why. Because you comment. No, I don't want to go there.
No,
I don't
okay.
want to go there.
This isn't the place. This isn't the time.
Yeah, no, we'll
No man's
discuss
land.
this
Let's stay
some
away
other
from
time.
that. Yes.
But I chose not to respond because
Okay.
of our friendship.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. And
Is there? Go ahead. Go ahead.
that's it.
Sorry.
That's
All right.
it.
So, Paul, do you want to answer that question?
I do. I think, as if we've talked about this before, when you get to certain points in your relation, your timeline, there's points in your where you've been in relationships that change what you want and need out of a relationship.
Sure.
So for me, unfortunately, the last relationship I was in before my current one, which is going on 7 years, starting this August, which is phenomenal.
I thought it was 5 years. You guys
No,
are
we're starting our
great.
7th year together.
Oh, God bless you.
yeah,
I'm delighted to hear that.
The most important things to me for this relationship at the start were the things that were bothering me the most about my past relationship, which really isn't fair to put your partner through to say, these are the things that really destroyed me about my last relationship, so I need these things fixed from you.
Right.
But specifically with mine, it was like I need to be left alone. Like I need my own time. I need to be in charge of my own time. Where in my past relationships, I wasn't able to schedule my own existence, and it was really, really frustrating. So with my girlfriend now, it's just like I need space. I need peace in my life, and that was a huge part of it. That she doesn't treat me like an appendage, like a third arm, and doesn't expect me to be her assistant in everything she needs to do. She lets me have my own life. And I have a lot of things to do. So
you do. We keep you very busy.
Right. That's what keeps us happy. Is that
right.
Here's my studio's here in the closet, and her office is out in the living room, and we let each other do our work, and then we come together for our time together. And it's like that's the most important thing to me outside of all the romantic things that you would hope for. They're on the list. Like I want somebody who's like-minded. I like somebody who enjoys the same things that I do, the same sense of humor. But after you've been through a really hard relationship, those things fall to the bottom. And the number one thing is leave me alone. Let me do my work.
You need your space.
Right? I need, that's, I think in my 20s, my answer would have been a lot different,
I'm sure.
And I'm very happy now.
I know you are. And you're very lucky, too.
I'm so
You are
lucky.
very lucky.
Yeah, I'm
you
very
really
lucky.
are. She's a lovely girl. She
Yes,
really
thank
is.
you.
So, do you want to know what my response is?
Yes.
to
What
those
are yours?
questions?
Yeah.
All right. So I would say, all the traditional things like you want someone who's honest and trustworthy and stuff like that. But now I don't know if trustworthy is really an issue or not. But I like I like persistence. I like somebody who is persistent. I do. I think that's an admirable trait. But what Jim said about being like-minded, I feel core values have to be aligned in a relationship. They have to be. Otherwise, it's a tug of war no matter where you go or what you do. And then I like passion. I don't mean romance. Well, who doesn't like that? But I mean, Jim is like, don't say anything. Don't.
I beg your pardon.
No, but I like to have passion about things. Like everything I do, my dogs, everything. This show, I'm very passionate about. Our topics, everything that's of any interest to me, I'm very passionate about. Now, what I don't look for is many of my clients always say, I'm looking for a clone of myself, somebody just like me. And that would be the most boring thing, I think, in the entire world. Because first of all, you don't learn anything, you don't grow. And I remember when I was divorcing my ex-husband, he said to me, "I'm the same man that you married," and I said, "That's
Bingo.
the problem."
Yeah.
Right. That's the problem. I grew and I evolved. He didn't. So I feel that to have different interests, but it has to be like, like I want to, like, you need your space, and so do I, Paul. But I also enjoy doing things with people.
Right.
So if they have like golf, I'm dying to learn how to play golf. Jim, when we worked on Wall Street, how many times did the executive guys go out on the golf course, take the day off and go out on the golf course? I was never invited.
It was a necessary part of the job. You needed to do that in order to keep your position.
Exactly. But I was never invited. But then again, even if I was, I didn't know how to play golf. But
you were a consultant. You didn't get involved in those conversations.
I wouldn't necessarily say that, because I was involved in a lot of like the Y2K, like, I did everything in that. Yeah. You did the workstation side. I did the whole network and building and moving and all that other stuff. So I was involved with a lot of high-level discussions on that, because if I didn't get my part done, like Y2K was going to happen. I couldn't say, oh, well, we're a little bit behind. We'll worry about it next month. There was no flexibility. I had to get it done. But I was never invited. And even if I did, the all I've ever played was miniature golf. So I don't know how that would line up with being on a golf course. But that's something like, if somebody played golf or had interests that, are intriguing to me, I think that would be a great thing to share with somebody. So that's really it. I need passion, I need persistence, and for me, I'm a big stickler on honesty and communication. Has to be somebody that is able to communicate. If
that's
they don't,
part of trust. That's part of trust.
Now, talk to me about that, because I don't see that.
Because I have to trust my partner to communicate with me when there's something going on.
Right. Okay. I got you on that. And if they don't? Then
they've violated trust.
Oh, my God. This is like profound to me.
They're holding on to things and not sharing them with me. And that's happened a lot to me. That's why I've been married 3 times.
I have no comment on that one. But you've been married now for 20 years.
Yeah. Yeah, the first 2 were much shorter.
Yeah, otherwise you'd be about 90 now.
That's right. Thanks.
I just feel 90 after 2 marriages. I'm just like, I'm exhausted.
Hey.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, God, you guys are... Jim is younger than me, so by a year.
Oh. I'm 38.
You're 38. You're 38. Paul is the old one here.
I am. I'm 90.
54.
I feel so good for 38. What happened to my beard?
See, I want honesty, yet I'm the first one to lie.
Yeah.
It's not a lie.
Lies are perfectly acceptable. That's right.
Well, I do believe. My lighting is going to fall. I do believe it. So that becomes my reality, because I do believe it. So in any event,
there's one thing I wanted to add. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
She has to like motorcycles and classical music.
Oh, for you, they have to like motorcycles?
She has to like motorcycles and classical music, or it's out. It's done.
Does Bing Wei go on the motorcycle with you?
No.
And you've been married to her for 20 years? I got to give her a call.
She preceded the motorcycle.
How long have you had a motorcycle? You had it in
10 years.
2010. Yeah, you had it in 2010 when we were doing the Beyond Haunted, the TV show.
TV show, right. Yeah, the funny thing, I'm on my 3rd motorcycle, too.
I thought this was your 2nd.
No, 3rd. My first was a Suzuki Intruder. The second was the Sportster, and the 3rd is the Road King, the big one.
So you're the last 2 are Harleys.
Yeah.
I have no comment.
Motorcycles and classical music. So all you
Okay,
ladies out there.
What are you going to do with your wife?
Oh,
What are you going to do with your
put her
wife?
in the sidecar.
Oh, okay. So then it's a threesome. As you know, that would be a nice thing for me as well,
Yeah.
to have somebody.
Nice one, Paul. Touche.
You can't leave those hanging.
No.
That's low hanging fruit.
That was great. I have a comment, but I'm not going to make it.
Oh, thank you.
No, not a threesome, a motorcycle. That would be a big plus for me too. Thanks to my friend Mike, who's busy screening, or maybe he's not screening.
Yeah, I think they're all
he's
screened. They're ready to go.
So we'll take some calls in a minute, but
Yeah.
he tormented me to get on the bike. He felt it would be good for my PTSD,
Yeah.
and it's changed my life.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what I got out of it? And we've never done a show on this, and I want to do a show on it. Maybe I already said this. I don't remember. I think I said being in the now. Did I say that before?
No, that's a great topic.
Oh, then I must have said it to Jim before the show. I mean, what is the moment of power? What is your moment of power? It's, what does Abraham Hicks say? The only true moment we have is in the now. So that's what I get out of being in the motorcycle. I forget about my clients. I forget about PTSD. I forget about 9/11. I forget about my childhood. I'm in the moment.
Mhm.
And it
That's
has
it.
become an addiction for me.
That's it. That's what it
I've
is.
got Mike's bike sitting right back there. I'm going to ask him, because when he stored it, he goes, now he gave me the keys. I have the keys, but
Oh,
I do.
let's do it.
But then he said there is a switch that he could like switch so that nobody could move the bike. I said, do it.
Mhm.
So he switched it off, but I could ask him how to unswitch it.
Right.
You know.
Oh, I can
You know,
figure it out.
Okay, I'll videotape it. Is he listening to all this? Mikey, are you there? Mikey.
I don't think he's unmuted.
Is he
There
on?
he is. He's coming now. Mike?
Okay, Mike.
I am.
Mike.
am.
How do I turn that back on? I'd have to use your wrench too to put the mirrors back on.
You talking about the fork block, Mike? Mike?
Mike, he passed out.
4 o'clock.
The
What?
the fork block?
Oh yeah, that's all we're talking about. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's easy.
Is that easy to unfork lock it?
Yeah. Depends on the bike.
Okay.
Some of them are easier than others. The hacksaw.
Well, he just what? What?
The trick
He
in Lady
just, like-
Fontaine's house is the clay.
He
Tennessee
just
clay.
like
Or
he
North
just did like
Carolina clay.
stop giving out my location here. He just like went and it was done. So it's like a switch or something,
Yeah.
right, Mike?
It's a key lock.
Mike,
It's a
key
key
lock.
lock.
the key lock. Where are the keys? You told me where they were.
You
where
already
left
said
them.
that you already said you had them.
Well, you told me where
Lost
you
them
put
already?
them. No, I'm going for the motorcycle training
Yes.
class.
Good.
No, I'm not. No, but I'm waiting for his wife to get back so she and I
Okay.
could go together because we'll have a lot of fun. But I couldn't even handle his bike if I wanted to. There's no way. I mean,
You'd
there's
be
just no
surprised.
way.
You'd be surprised.
Oh, you think I could?
I know 80-year-old men that ride their motorcycles still, those heavy ones. So
Yeah,
Don't,
but they're experienced. They know what they're doing. I don't
And
know
you?
what I'm doing.
when you finish the class, you will.
Oh, because the guy at the motorcycle shop
is no better.
recommended a 250. Well, no, Mike recommended a 250. The guy at the motorcycle shop recommended a 300.
Uh-huh.
But it looks like a toy.
It depends on where you're going to ride it, because if you get out on the highway with something super light, you're going to get blown all over the place. So you need
I don't like highway. Even when Mike
Right.
does it, I go, "How long are we going to be on this road?" He goes, "One exit." I go, "I can deal." I don't like. I mean, around here, there's these world-class motorcycle roads here. I mean,
Right.
I really miss Mike.
He's there.
I miss you. Can you come back?
Aw.
It's only been a week.
Imagine by next week. Oh my God, I'll be pulling my hair out. You wouldn't like that. Listen to that.
I miss
What?
riding a lot myself.
I'm sure you're struggling more than me, but hopefully I'll see you back here soon. You and Sherry.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well,
we should take
it
some
looks
calls.
like
We definitely have a good
I was
list.
going to say, it looks like we have a good list of callers here. Thank you for joining us, Mike, and thank you for screening calls for us.
Thank you very much, because Jim and I don't have to.
Yeah.
The tough part of the job.
All right. So who do we have here? He's got a lot of callers here.
Yeah, he does. He does. Goodness gracious. What do you think, Wendy? Been on a long time.
I'm looking for, but let's, since you mentioned her name, we have to take
Okay.
it. Oh,
Sorry.
that's going to be a channeling one, I think.
Hi, Wendy.
Hi. Hello.
How are you?
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Hi. Nice to talk to you again. I am talking to a few companies regarding getting a memorial gravestone to be shared. It's for my beloved brother. He passed in 2015, and I would be sharing the memorial. And I would like to give you a few names of people, not really identifying them, but I don't know which person I'm going to go through yet. And then tonight, I was speaking to a man named Brian, and he sent me a picture of an angel memorial, which is really special. So, and he's got some nice pieces. So is it going to be from Brian, or is it going to be from Rukula, or is it going to be from PSM? Do you have any thoughts on any one of those companies?
Each one felt like they had something very alluring, but talk to me more about this angel one. Is that from Brian?
It is, and he and I have been talking for about a week, and then he just finished working, and he's being very kind to me and patient. And out of the blue, he sent me this picture of an angel. He said that it was $4,000, but since he's had it for a while, he would let me have it for $3,500. And maybe, and the angel is white granite with her arms around like part of a gray, half of a gray heart, and then the base might be black marble. But he has some other pieces. He has like it's called emerald pearl for a stone, and then there's also something called black galaxy, which is black with, in the sunlight it would kind of sparkle. But he had never shown me this angel before tonight, and he said he's had her for about 2 years. A family ordered it, and then they decided not to buy her, and so he says it was $4,000, but he would let me have it for $3,500. He's trying.
And I think there's more. I think there's more room for negotiation on that as well. But I feel in your energy, that's where your passion is. I mean, all of this, even the emerald one that you mentioned and the sparkly granite one that you mentioned, in your energy, I could feel he's got the designs. It's more than the design. It's the feeling behind it that I could feel so aligned with your energy. You know,
yes.
It is. I mean, it's almost like if you could imagine the most esoteric or ethereal type of memorial, he either has it or can envision it. And the other ones to me feel much more traditional than what Brian is offering you. I kind of feel at the end you're going to go with one of his designs, but certainly, I mean, the options are up to you. I mean, you could decide, no, I want something more traditional. But if you're true to yourself and you really go with what resonates with you, you're going to go with one of his designs. I believe there's even something else that he has that also would resonate with you. I'm seeing like something with a dove. And I actually expected you to say that the angel was holding a dove or that a dove was on her shoulder or something like that. That's what I expected you to say. So I don't know if there's another one that he's going to show you with a dove, but my gut feeling is his stuff is exquisite and his stuff is memorable and it resonates the most with you. But if you opt to go with tradition, I didn't write down. There was a name you said P something, PV something.
Well, there's a company called PSM, and Natalie is the person I'd be talking to for that company.
They feel very reputable. They feel like they have good quality, but it feels very traditional. It doesn't feel like this more ethereal look that you're getting from Brian. So the end choice is going to be in your hands, but to me, it's a shoo-in because I could feel what you want. You have this.
You are exactly right. It's more spiritual and ethereal,
right.
And I think Brian and I have a connection. And I will text him right now and ask if he has something with a dove, and maybe then he'll send me what you're picturing.
And email it to me and let me look at it. I would love to see it.
Oh, God bless you.
Or maybe he could even do the angel with a dove. Or maybe there is a dove and he hasn't mentioned it on an angel. Or he could put a dove on. But I see a dove with the angel. And I was surprised that you said she was holding a heart. I felt it was going to be a dove.
Well, she's holding 3 roses.
Oh, so what was the heart that you mentioned?
Well, she is standing, and then she is facing she's embracing with one big wing. One of the wing on the left is enveloping part of a half heart. And oh gosh, if you don't mind, I'd love to email this to you. And do you think you'd have time to respond? Because
yes,
I have really been. I almost made a negotiation with somebody called Linda, and it was going to be a blue pearl monument with a white marble base. And then she said she didn't have it. So I said, I basically was very polite, and I said no, thank you. And so now I started looking again, and so. He says this angel was $4,000 a few years ago, but he would let me have it for $35.
I keep on seeing 3,200, so I think you could get him down a little bit more. But if he customizes it with a dove or something, you might end up at 35. But I feel there's some flexibility there, even more than what he's already given you.
Well, you know what? I am looking at spiritual ethereal, and it's for my beloved brother and me.
Yes.
And there would not be a lot of room to put a lot of engraving on this angel piece, but it is just so spiritual. When I looked at it, and you can get angels from other companies, but he's had her for a couple of years. Maybe she's been waiting for me.
Well, she's been waiting. I was going to say the same thing. She is waiting for you. And even though you said there's not a lot of room to do writing, it feels like on the base there is.
Oh, okay. That's a thought.
Have you've seen the whole thing with the angel and the base?
Well, yes. I will send you the picture as soon as we stop talking. And God bless you. I am an artist, and she touched my soul when I saw it.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I
could feel that connection with that. That's why if you're true to yourself, you'll either go with Brian, he'll customize it, you'll go with this or something, because I could feel it in your heart of hearts. It connects with you.
It does. It does. And I could get a much larger stone, like the Black Galaxy, way larger, but to me, it's almost like there's an aura around this.
There is. There is an aura around this for you. There truly is. So good luck with you, Wendy. Send me the email. I will take a look at it and I will get back to you. Are you, because your voice is so familiar. Are you the one who called us about the China at that famous department store? Yeah, I thought so.
Yes.
I recognize your voice.
Yes, I did.
Okay. All right. How did that one work out?
Thank you for asking. I finally got my refund just
Yay!
recently. What happened? I think it was divine intervention. I called again, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, and I was transferred by somebody, and this woman was the billing department, and I said, oh no, I needed to speak to the back line department, and she insisted on wanting to help me, and she heard me out, and she stuck with me, and I believe in her sincerity, and I supposedly was reinstated for shopping online again, but
Yay.
Something went fluey. So I've been trying to reach her. And then I spoke to another woman named Reg who was supposed to get in contact with her. But I am still going to I got my money, thank God. But
All right, good.
She said that I'm reinstated, that she did everything. But apparently they forgot to do one last thing. So I am still working on being reinstated. So hopefully I'll still be reinstated. I may contact them tomorrow again and tell them that they still need to look into this. Do you think that'll
Wendy,
be resolved?
yes, what I'd like you to do is escalate it and talk to a supervisor and tell them what's been going on. This has been going on for months now, and tell them you need it resolved. You're a good customer. This was no fault of yours, and you've been told the access is restored, and it isn't. So, but escalate it.
You want to hear something strange? Because I think I'm very mystical too. When she came on the line, she said I asked her name again, and she said Jeannie, and then she said like Magic Jeannie. So things come to me. Oh wow!
Yeah.
And I don't think it was by mistake that I got connected to her, because she said she immediately.
There's no coincidence or accidents. There's none. So you're right.
She identified with me because she had a similar experience about buying something very, very expensive, and she had a terrible time to get her a refund, and then after a lot of pushing, she finally got it. So she felt a connection with me, I think, and
I would agree, and I believe there's a lot of flexibility there. So work on it.
And Brian is sending me other text pictures again. I've never had the cooperation like he is. He's sending me pictures of the back of that angel monument and the side, showing me how the wing, like if you're putting your arm around somebody, how it goes around the section where my name and my beloved brother's name would be. And you are right, because I need that ethereal spiritual connection.
Right.
You are also right, because the PSM is really gorgeous, but they're pricey. But Brian is giving me that extra touch that I need.
Right. Right.
So.
Right. Wendy, send me whatever you want to send me. They're telling me that we have to move on because we have a lot of callers. But
okay.
But send me it, and we could dialogue an email.
God bless you. I love you. Thank you.
Thank you. Same here. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, that was great. We never had a call like that before either.
No, that's first. Yeah, that's true.
Wow, I love it. I love it. All right, so who else do we have? We might as well take another call, and then we'll get back down to business because there is a topic at hand tonight that I want to address.
All right, let's go with Tanika.
Is this Tanika that we know?
Yes,
Okay.
another previous caller. She was in early today.
Okay.
Tanika?
Hi, Lady
Hi.
Fontaine.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
So what's the story?
I just wanted to know what Lady Fontaine sees as far as changes coming up for me in my life, as far as in the areas of moving or changing jobs, and if she sees anything about love. I spoke to her about someone that I know the topic of the show applies to. Frank, I spoke to her about in the past. I haven't heard from him still, and I think he has commitment issues, like the topic says.
Can we keep it down to one question? Can you just pick one thing to talk about? I mean, I think Frank sounds like a good one. Let's
For
review
tonight's
that story.
topic.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what's the story with Frank? What happens?
I just haven't heard from him. I don't know if this is just totally done. If he's just moved on. I just haven't heard from him, and I'm still hurt about it. But he doesn't know that. If we just haven't spoken, I don't think there would be any place to put those feelings with him anyway. If he did know. So.
I think you're kind of answering your own question, but energetically, to me, it does not feel like it's over or done. But the more important part of this is, what does Tanika need from a relationship? And is this man providing it for you? And clearly he isn't. Now, does he have commitment issues? What I do feel he has is a lot of, and I might have mentioned this to you in the past, but betrayal issues that are causing him to not be able to open his heart. And that's a him issue. You know, there's nothing you could do to change that. And has he shared with you, like, to me, it feels like a broken engagement. Has he shared that with you?
He told me in the past that he was married at one time, and then they separated, and he didn't really go into the real reason why. He just said, oh, when she got a better job, she just thought she was too good or something like that. And I know there's more sides to the story, and it makes me wonder if now, did they get back together or something? Like,
no.
You know?
No, it has nothing to do with his ex-wife, and it has nothing to do with even another relationship. I'm not saying that he's not either talking to other people or whatever, but actually his energy to me comes through more like that he goes into a shell and he doesn't really reach out. He sort of goes into his cocoon for safety. And I kind of feel that's where he is right now. I think the topic for today, and when I really start talking about the fear of commitment, some of what I talk about will apply to him, but he's not ready. That's what it boils down to. And, sometimes on paper, relationships look great and they should work, but something is either missing or a person isn't ready. And that's really what it boils down to. In this instance, Frank isn't ready. Now, I know you've called in before a lot, and you've heard our shows before, and I often talk about what happens when you want something and when you hold on to it. And we don't realize the power that we have when we're holding on to that hope and that desire for something to be in our life that isn't. We talked about earlier today about living in the moment, and living in the moment is forgetting all that stuff and letting things play out in its own time, in its own way, and not holding on and not trying to control anything and not trying to make it happen, not trying to persuade anybody or anything like that. So my gut feeling is with you is that you hold on so tight to the hope of this. And I actually feel you are missing other opportunities because you're sort of you have sort of tunnel vision in making that decision that this is the man for you. So what I'd like to see you do is loosen up a little bit on that and trust the process. We talked a lot about trust in the early part of this show, and trust that there's something greater at hand here, and that ability is going to draw him in at the right time or draw in the right person at the right time. I really feel you're holding on so tight to the hope, and whatever he fulfilled in you, which to me feels like attention. That attention is what you miss the most. Not even him, but the attention that he gave you. And that the way to resolve that and the way to shift that energy is to give yourself that attention. See, a lot of things like with abandonment, when people abandon us, in reality, what's happening is we abandon ourselves. And what that really means is that right now you're giving 110% of your focus, even though you're not, I can feel you're not giving 110, but you're giving too much focus to Frank and to how your life would be different if Frank was in your life. And instead of doing that, if you can shift that focus to giving yourself that attention, hearing what it is that you really need, which this man is not providing for you, and pay attention to that, and you're going to start seeing that either Frank enters your life, re-enters your life, or the right man is going to enter your life. But try to shift your focus away from getting your external validation or Jim, what's the right word here? External.
Validation's great. I like validation.
Okay. All right. External validation, something external to yourself rather than from you. That'll be the key for you. And the next time I talk to you, I want to hear that you've done that. All right? So, Tanika, work on that.
Okay.
All right. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Jim, before we go on to another caller, and actually I want to talk a little bit about our subject. Could you address that a little bit, what I was talking about? Do you have any comments on that, about giving yourself that focus rather than giving it out to someone who's not there for you?
What I've seen is people who are out there having a good time with themselves or with friends are people who are most interesting, because their energy is very much, I'm solid, I'm contained, I'm stable. Whereas people who are chasing after others, looking for someone to fill a hole in themselves.
Bingo. That's the key. That's the key.
That becomes a problem, yeah. Because other people can feel that energy. And especially people who like to take advantage of that energy, which is really dangerous. So you're actually attracting people who recognize that you have that hole, and they want to use that as a way to manipulate you.
So is that an energy vampire or something?
Well, sort of. It's a person who wants to take advantage of others because they get food from that. I don't want to call it a vampire, because that has a lot of baggage with it.
Right.
That may not be applicable. I think innocent people do it without realizing they're doing that, but there are people doing that. So.
But that's typical of codependency. I mean, a codependent person, somebody who is a giver, is going to draw in somebody who needs somebody to give to them. Two givers in a codependency relationship isn't going to work, or two takers in a codependency relationship isn't going to work. And how much of society is codependent? 97% or more. So we all have some degree of codependency. What?
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear what you have to say about that.
Well, I don't know if you can really quote a statistic on that, but yeah, there's.
But that's
the
number I've heard. I have heard
Okay.
over 97% of society is codependent.
Okay.
Which is scary. Look, there are different degrees of codependency.
Yes.
But anybody who gets their validation from anything external to themselves is a form of codependency.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So, and a lot of people are stuck in that cycle.
Yeah. So that I like the old song that the Beatles wrote. So hold you in his arms and you can feel his disease. That's a great line. From to come together.
I remember that song, and
Yeah.
I've always wondered what that meant.
That's what it means. It's like you can feel his need, what he needs from you, what he can feel or what she needs from you, and it's for me. It's always been off-putting. Whenever I'm needing to have a girlfriend, I never get any. But when I just say okay, when I start relaxing and I start doing what I want to do and really having fun doing that.
Yes.
And being with people I like and having a good time, that's when people start showing up.
Right. That happened to me too, where it was the more, you look for something and try to get it, like you've said so many times on the show,
right.
it ends up creating a boundary. But when you relax and not so much don't want it, but it's like it's you're not.
You let go of the
right?
expectation and the desire and the hope.
Let it come in.
Yeah. And what happens when you let go? You start to trust.
Right.
The process.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. So I had a couple questions come in from online here. I've got a couple text questions.
Oh, okay, good.
So they
we
didn't want to
never
call
do this. This is so excited.
Right. So this was from online. And one of the questions was, what are some alternative ways of showing commitment other than getting engaged or married that have as much or more meaning? I wonder who texted this in. Maybe a girlfriend of 7 years.
So we have somebody on the show who's maybe commitment phobic.
You could say I'm commitment phobic, but I wouldn't. I feel committed. All my stuff is here. I'm not going anywhere.
Oh my God, that's not the way a woman sees things. All right. So first of all, a lot of what society calls or considers commitment isn't really what matters. What matters is the commitment of the heart. And I do believe you are committed in the heart, if we're talking about you.
Sure. Let's talk about me.
No, let's just pretend it's someone else. So whoever we're talking about.
Whoever texted that.
Right. I do believe that the commitment of the heart is the most important thing. See, where we get messed up is, quote unquote, the expectations. And look, in case you haven't noticed, I'm a woman. So
Really? And all this time?
Oh, you didn't realize that, huh? And I think women have this dream, like this fairy tale dream of what a relationship can be, should be, would be, and that does get in the way. But I don't think there's anything wrong with having the dream. But, and it's right here in the script, it's like the opening to what I'm talking about, is that when you're really looking for a serious relationship, if a guy tells you, I don't want to get married, if a guy tells you I'm not into commitment, or a girl, whichever it is, I've said it before on this show, believe them, because I deal with men and women all day long that get into relationships and the other person is on a different page. When we talked about at the beginning of the show, the core beliefs and having similar, goals and desires, that is important. But I'd like to, if this were you, whoever this is, I would like to work with that person and try to get that person to understand what's holding them back from being able to make the commitment. But the true commitment of love and presence and being present, I think, supersedes if you have a ring, if you're married, or anything else. But if the other person wants that, then and you love that person, then what's holding you back? That's the bigger question. So that suggests to that person, text them back and ask them to arrange an appointment with me next Wednesday at 11 a.m. when we usually meet. And I'll be happy to work on that issue.
So can we perhaps answer the question then? What are alternative ways of showing commitment that aren't getting engaged or married that have the same meaning, or is there no substitute for the ring on
what
the
is
finger?
that? Hand fasting. Get hand fasted.
What's hand fasted?
Isn't that the term in Wicca? I think where you go through a ceremony.
Oh.
very
Yeah, it's a
similar
ceremony.
to marriage.
without
Or is it
the legal
pagan or
documents. Yeah.
Right.
You can just say that, yeah. You don't have to actually go through a wedding, but you can go through a private, ceremony celebrating your relationship, and then treat it as if it was their, you give it anniversaries, turn it into a threshold for your relationship that turns it into a bonding commitment.
Right.
But I really feel that if one partner does want that commitment of marriage and the other one doesn't, I don't know that there is a happy medium. I mean, maybe hand fasting really is. One time on, I don't know if it was The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, one of those shows, they did a hand fasting ceremony. And everybody thought they got married, but they didn't. When they split up, there was no divorce because they weren't really married. But it is a way to show your commitment and show your devotion and show your love, and especially if you love a partner. But the bigger question is, what would hold a person back from not being ready after 7 years? Sorry about that. To not be ready to take that step.
Well, let's say you were on a motorcycle and you crashed and you broke your back and you were in the hospital for 3 or 4 years. And you
I would
said
never
to
get
yourself,
on a motorcycle again.
You know what? I'm never going to get a motorcycle again.
Right.
It's dangerous.
Right.
You can really get hurt.
Right.
And then you decide, you know what? I'm 30-something years old. I'm going to try it one more time because, life is long, and I really enjoyed riding a motorcycle. It was really fun. And then the second time you rode a motorcycle, you broke your neck, and you were in the hospital for 7 years.
Oh, my God.
So the third
I'll never
time
get on a
someone
motorcycle again.
Yeah,
You
the
just
third
blew
time
it for
someone
me,
comes along and
It's
says
my
you-
PTSD. He blew it.
So the third time someone comes along and says, "Hey, do you want to get on a bike?" I'm saying, I've been in an ATV for 7 years. I don't think I need to get on a two-wheeler again because I got really hurt the last 2 times. So I don't know if that's a fear of commitment. Just I don't want to get on a bike again.
Jim, I want to hear from you while I think this one through.
Well, I think a commitment in a relationship, whether it's a marriage or a ritual, is involving a vow. Okay, the vow is your word, and if your word is I'm going to stick with you, come hell or high water, that's a commitment. Whether you're making it with the state's official blessing, or if you're making it in front of all of your friends, it's still a commitment, and it's your honor, it's your dignity, your integrity that's at stake with that.
Right.
So for me, that's the argument I would make. We don't have to go through a marriage because there's socially a lot of baggage with marriage.
Yeah.
What we could do is we could just make a commitment to each other in front of friends and have a big ceremony about it and have a great time. Everybody get drunk and do everything that they do at a wedding, and then we'll be committed.
Right.
All right. So what I want to say to you is that with the example you gave me about the motorcycle, let's use that example for you. You're already on the motorcycle again.
No.
And you're already riding the motorcycle.
Oh.
Yes, you are. Oh, yes, you are. You're playing house. You
So
are on the
you're
motorcycle.
saying the motorcycle is an analogy for the relationship. I'm saying it's the experience. All right, let's go with your analogy because I don't see it that way.
No, well, I think you're
So his has
seeing
training
the
wheels.
motorcycle as the marriages that didn't work. That's your analogy, I believe.
No,
for
I'm
the
seeing the
motorcycle.
crashes are what didn't work. I'm seeing
Exactly.
getting on a motorcycle is the commitment to ride. It's like that's,
And you're on that ride. You're on the bike right now. You're
Okay.
on it. But that fear of crashing is replaying it. See,
It's like
life is all
PTSD.
about choices. It's true. You can allow, and that's a trauma that's in your body somewhere, so we'll work with that. But you can allow that to rule your life. And you may look back at some point in your life and have regrets because you allowed a fear to get in the way of living. But that's your choice.
Right.
You can do that. But at least be aware that it's a choice, that you're running from something. And what that shows me is whatever those past hurts or betrayals were in the previous relationships are still very strong in your heart of hearts.
Yeah.
And that's until you resolve that and you're able to move forward from that, it's always going to be a fear. I mean, in my eyes, I wouldn't want to be moving forward into a committed relationship with someone who was afraid of commitment or afraid that, God, we're going to crash. Because that fear is going to create it. The things that we fear the most are the things that we create in our lives. We draw that into our lives. So your job, if you want to free yourself from this, and it has nothing to do with freeing yourself so that you're able to make a commitment. It's freeing yourself from the fear that you're running from, because you're running from something. And you could keep running for the rest of your life. That's your choice. Or face it.
Yeah, I don't. For me, like this, I'm glad I'm becoming the topic of the show.
Is that anything new? We do this a lot. Therapy for Paul.
So, yeah, I mean, for me, like I feel like I'm not running. I feel like I'm in a committed relationship and I'm very happy in my relationship, and I don't want that to change. So it's not.
Right.
It's not like I'm running from it, or I don't feel afraid of marriage. It's just I don't want to do it. I don't.
Why? Why don't you want to do it?
Because it hasn't worked out for me twice. I don't want to roll the dice again and have it fail again. Like I just want things to stay the way they are. Everything's good and we're solid. So I don't want to, like, I'm not running, but I'm not running to the altar either. Like I don't.
How long were you dating the other people that you were married to?
At least 2.5, 3 years before we got married. Each relationship wasn't, there were different reasons both of them fell apart, but neither one of them were a spur of the moment thing. We definitely took our time.
I still feel it's just like the analogy you said before. It's not that I'm not on the motorcycle. It's that I don't want to crash. And it's the same thing. It's the fear because you were hurt by the previous divorces or ending of relationships.
Yeah,
that's driving you. And that's the fear that I'm talking about working on. Doesn't mean you're going to run into a commitment or a marriage. That's up to you guys.
Right.
But at least not have that fear or that limitation that's holding you back, because you don't realize it. But when you're going into a relationship with that, it affects the relationship.
Okay.
It affects it. We're all free energy and frequency. So if you're tuned into that, I'm afraid to make that commitment, or I'm going to crash on the motorcycle or whatever, it's going to affect your ability to be able to be fully present in a relationship.
Okay.
And that's why I'm saying the buck stops with you. It
All right.
does. Jim, thoughts? Let's hear it.
I'm with Mike.
Who's Mike?
Mike, I don't know
Paul.
what we're
I'm sorry,
talking about.
Paul. I'm sorry, Paul.
Are you helping screening
Paul.
calls? You're out of the
Well,
conversation.
he's on number.
I got Mike here.
He's on
The
number.
last name I saw was Mike, and that's what came out.
He's
Paul.
on number 3 already. So.
Yeah, Jim, how
Yeah.
did you feel on the verge of your third marriage? Did you want to get married again after failing twice? Like, how did you feel making that
He married
step?
a wonderful woman. He did. He
Right?
married a wonderful, wonderful woman.
What I found is that with many people, we'll just say people, they kind of hide stuff until the document is signed and the ritual is over.
Right.
And also I have seen
God.
transitions in the relationship based on social
you're right.
Social
you're right.
pressure on what this has to be that really could impact the way the relationship goes. So between the two of those things, I would have a very difficult time making a choice like that again.
Yeah.
You have to really vet the person out in a heavy way. I mean, it would be like, third degree, light in the face. Where were you on October 16th?
But things, people change and situations change. And that's what I found in my last situation. My partner, every step of the way, as the commitment became more and more irreversible, from the engagement ring to the wedding to the pregnancy to the birth, the relationship changed so drastically for me, and the expectations on me and what it just, my life stopped being my own life, like every step of the way. And I just I felt like that those levels of commitment in a relationship made the relationship and my partner change so drastically that it actually killed the relationship.
Yeah.
So that's certainly where, if I'm afraid of anything, it's I don't feel fear. You know what I mean? It's just I feel experienced that I've been through this and I've seen what happens, and I don't want that. I don't want to go through that again. So I don't feel, topic fear of commitment, I don't feel afraid, and I don't feel like I'm not committed. I'm just very burned by the fact that I've been through it twice, and I don't want to go through it again.
No reason to stick my foot in the bear trap again. I just don't have to do that.
I see men and women. This is the Venus and Mars perspective.
We
it's very different.
This is what women want versus what men want.
I wonder if there's a caller that feels the way I do and has a similar feeling about commitment.
All right. Well, let's see if we could take it. But I would like to have a few minutes to talk about the fear of commitment somewhere. I've got 30 pages here of notes.
Well, we should talk about it. Let's talk about that.
All right. I still see it as a fear because you're unable to take a step forward. And yes, it's based on negative feelings, and negative experiences. But from a psychological perspective, I would say, what's the underlying thing that's holding you back? And it would be a fear.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know what else I would call it. I'm not saying you're not committed to your relationship at all. Obviously, you've been in it for 7 years.
Right.
But you want it on your safe, little place. What do we call that?
You're shaking the table.
There.
Sorry.
The what? Oh, I know. I'm shaking. I know. I have to sit on my hands again whenever I do that. You need that safety, that little cocoon. You can't step outside of the cocoon. Why? Because there's something out there that could hurt you or hurt the relationship. And you're making that association that you take the next step and the steps are going to repeat in a relationship. And all I'm saying is explore that in your work with me if we were talking about you and see what's there. It doesn't mean anything different is going to happen. But I actually feel, knowing some of the things we've already worked on, it will help free you up in different ways, maybe even creatively and career-wise and successfully.
I could use some of that.
This is somebody who's working on an album and he's got T-shirts already and stuff. You're doing great. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
I really am. All right, let's take another caller because we've got a lot of people, and then I'll talk a little bit about the fear of commitment.
Let's talk to Joni. Joni's there?
Yes. Hello.
Hi. Am I saying your name properly, Joni?
No, it's Gianni, like Gianni Versace.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Johnny. What's your story?
My story is I've been with my girlfriend for 6 years now. Going through a crazy breakup. She's telling me she want time, she wants space. Then we have an apartment we live in. She moved out with her friend for right now. The lease is up in November, and we can't communicate correctly. She wants me to move out the apartment, but yet she's going to be off the lease. But yet, if I say, if you're off the lease, I'm going to just go apply for an apartment, and she cannot stay in the same place, so I want to move out. And we just had a big argument. No, I want you out that apartment. I want you out that apartment, as if she want to come back to the apartment but not tell me about it. But the whole thing is just communication been off. I just on sudden lost my mom. She took the COVID vaccine and had a heart attack a little over a month ago.
I'm sorry. Gosh.
So I'm grieving with. I'm not really grieving with it, but yeah, I am. I'm dealing with it. I'm in the
You're
military,
struggling.
so I feel like I'm struggling to accept it and get over depression. And everything that can happen. It happened last month. My mom, my girl. I lost my job. Everything but my dog dying. So I'm just holding on.
Well, thank God your dog is still there.
Oh, yeah,
thank God your dog is still there.
Yes, ma'am. Kiki's still here.
Right, and they're tremendous support, so be grateful for that. And, you know, I'm a 9/11 survivor, and I definitely understand dealing with a lot of trauma, and I've been through a lot myself, so I get it. You know, I want to talk specifically about your relationship right now, and then I want to talk a little bit about maybe some suggestions for you to get through this really difficult time. As far as your relationship goes, would you mind sharing your partner's first name? Would you feel okay doing that?
Oh, yeah. Her name is Kai, Kai.
Okay. I just want to zoom in on her energy and see what I pick up.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a lot of what you said that I feel was deteriorating long before this split. And I feel like you said that you guys, you know, were arguing about the apartment and stuff like that. But I feel these arguments have been going, right, but they've been going on for a long time. And I feel that constant like tug of war in your relationship. And I'm a big advocate on communication. And I feel your level of truly communicating with each other broke down a long, long time ago. I'm not even sure you ever really had it where you were really able to have that, that real open, heartfelt kind of communication. I feel you're both kind of either A-type personalities or both strong personalities in this relationship, and you both want to be heard. And the problem is neither of you are listening, and both of you are holding to your own standpoint and your own perspective. So there was, I don't remember what show it was. We did a long, long time ago. Jim and I both have a very similar technique that we use with clients in being able to learn how to communicate better. But I'm just going to give it to you on a real high level, and Jim might have a few things that he wants to share. But first of all, I would say sit her down and say, look, we need to talk, not fight, but talk. And then the second most important thing is the exercise that I'm going to give you. You both have to agree that you're going to listen. And it really, communication is not only about talking and being open and sharing, but it's hearing your partner. And that's where I feel both of you have broken down. The other thing is that I want you to be able to say to her is what you said here, you're hurting, you're grieving, you're a mess, and you need her support. And this is the time you need her to be there. And that then becomes a choice that she has to make. Is she willing to be there for you? I feel love between the two of you. I mean, I really do feel there's something still there, but I feel there's so much hurt, and there's so much of not being heard in both of your energies that you both have so much resentment in your energy that truly is what's holding your relationship together, where in reality, that's what's drawing it apart. So she might not even be willing to do this, but I would say to her, I would start by saying something like, I'm in a depression. I'm a mess, and I need you to talk to me, and I need to have a civil conversation. But the exercise that both Jim and I have been very successful with, again, is a couple that wants to communicate and wants to stay together. But basically, the way I do it is I have the two partners sitting like on a straight chair across from each other. I do it with like knees touching, and you look at each other, and each partner gives the other person a chance to talk. But the only thing that you can say, even if they say the thing that is most irritating to you in the whole world, all you can say when you're listening to her, or all she could say when she's listening to you, is, I understand. I get it. Those are the only words. But you can't do it pretending. You can't do it really getting all riled up and hurt and more resentful. You have to do it hearing her. You guys are not hearing each other, and that's the biggest problem in this relationship. Have you guys always argued in sort of like it being a tug of war? I feel that in the energy. It feels like it's always been there. Has it?
Yeah, it's always been there. Everybody, I'm 20. She's 24. I'm 34. So people say, oh well, it's her age and stuff like that. But we both in the military. She's a cop from the city we're from. So I feel like she's way more mature than I give her a lot of credit being more mature. But in a relationship, it's not that. It's a lot more immaturity. And it's been a tug of war from the beginning. Sometimes it gets better. I feel that. Then it digress. Then I feel like it get better. And recently it's an argument. Hey, let's talk about this. Hey, I don't want to argue. Kiss and make up, put a Band-Aid on it. Then it flares up next week, next month. And it's just like recently my mom passed over a month ago. It's just been everything just been everywhere. And she had enough. She moved out 2 weeks ago. So I was calling to see, hey, when is she going to move back? Will she move back? Is this can we save this? But talking to her the last couple of weeks, she want to move to separate places and then start from there. She don't hear nothing else but let's move in separate apartments and start from there. And I think I
still don't feel it's over, even though she's saying what she's saying. She's just at the breaking point, and I think the best thing you could do is give her some space right now and let her process everything. What I would like to see you throw out to her is, if you want to talk, or if you want to, go into counseling or something, I would love to do that and try to sort this out. I really feel you need a mediator to help guide you through this, because you guys, both of you, feel, and understanding she's a cop and you're in the military, you do have to, you need that strength in a relationship. And it's a hard time backing down from it. She needs to be in control of the situation. And that, that's something that she would have to be willing to relinquish and learn how to sort of balance in a relationship. But energetically, to me, it does not feel like it's over. But you need to give her space, but you need to throw her bait. You need to say, look, I love you. I would like to work this out, but we need help. And we need to learn how to communicate. And let that sort of gel in her. And hopefully she'll come to the point where she'll be more grounded and more ready to work it out with you. But I honestly feel that you may have a break right now, and I feel she's angry and not willing right now, but it's not over. It isn't over. If you could stick it out and throw her that bait, it's got a chance.
Okay.
All right. Well, good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye. Man, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Under the circumstances. That's really heartbreaking.
I hope you're still listening, because I didn't get to say my bit.
I wanted you to say, but the music was playing. But go ahead. What did you want to say?
I wanted to say that, that
put him back on. Put him back on. Put him back on. He's still there.
Johnny, you there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, I had some pieces that I wanted to add to the ritual that Lady Fontaine was talking about, and that is, you don't interrupt each other when you're talking, when one of them's talking. So you kind of decide who's going to go first, and then the other person. The way I do it is the other person doesn't say anything; they just do eye contact. They listen as hard as they can, and at the end of the conversation, the person who was talked to repeats back what they heard, and the person that's talking gets to change it and correct it into being the right message. And then they keep doing that until the person who was listened to, the first person talking, says, "Yeah, that's right." And
all right, could you give an example? But could you give an example of that?
Oh, I hate the way you drive. You always yell at people. Okay. Tell me
and then what's repeated back?
What did I say?
You said, "I hate the way you drive. You always yell at people."
No, I said, "I hate the way you drive. You're always yelling at people."
I know. That's what you said.
Do it the way I said it.
You said that you hate the way I drive, and I'm always yelling at people.
Right. That's it. Okay. And then if it's like something like that, that's just raw material. You can go back with, and how does that make you feel? And that gives the person who is talking a moment to be able to actually talk about what goes on inside of them. And then you go through that same process with that. And now it's your turn. Okay? So you get to do the same thing, and they have to do the same thing. And that's the agreement. It's like almost a contract. You have to say, these are the rules, and you can't break the rules because it's really going to mess up our lives, and we're never going to get over this. So we've got to do it this way. And eventually you'll learn that this is okay and it's safe, and you can talk like this. And you don't have to be sitting knee to knee to do it.
Right. In the big picture of things, you don't. And Paul, who does coaching with me, knows how many times do I say to you, "How does that make you feel?"
Yeah.
That's part of it. That's it. You have to connect with what your emotion is, and I make you name the emotion because when you name it, then you have that power to deal with it, and it becomes something separate from yourself. What's destroying your relationship is really bad habits and both of your abilities or desires to be right and to be heard. And neither of you are listening. That's the problem. But what Jim said about how does that make you feel, I have a whole process that I do in coaching with people that's all based on you identifying within yourself how that makes you feel. Because my feeling is your outer world is always a reflection of what's going on inside of you. So if you have this constant conflict going on in a relationship, that means there's some constant conflict going on inside of you that needs your attention. And I did an article, it's on the internet somewhere. It's called "You Only Need One Person to Fix a Relationship," and that one person is you. You work on you, and it gets resolved. And let me tell you, I had a client many, many years ago that was married to a psychologist. She lived in Connecticut, and they moved to somewhere out west in California. And they ended up getting a divorce. He physically abused her. And she contacted me when she got back to the East Coast, and I worked with her. She was one of my star clients. I mean, she was amazing. She got the techniques right away. And one day she calls me out of the blue, and she says, "You're not going to believe this." And I said, "What?" And she said, "Guess who called me?" And I'm thinking, well, we're working on her father. It must be her father. And she said, "No." And she said her ex-husband called her. And I said, "What did he say?" And she said he was on the phone crying to me and apologizing for everything that he did. Now, they had not had any contact since they were divorced, but her doing her own inner work shifted him 3,000 miles away. That, I mean, they didn't develop a relationship or have any ongoing contact, but she was able to get a lot of closure, and they were both able to get a lot of healing. And the point of it is, though, as you work through the things yourself, it shifts everything external to you, and everyone's perception of the situation shifts and changes, and therefore that's how you heal yourself heal out external situations.
That just happened. I told her I needed time. This is too much going on. If you want a break, we both need time, so I'm going to give you that. And I said, let's not talk to each other for a couple of days. And the next day she called back apologizing.
Yeah. And that truly is, what we were talking about before about letting go. When you let go of a situation, it frees it up for the universe to take over. And honestly, people, men and women, get scared when they're afraid of losing it. Right now, she knows she's in control. She does have issues with needing to be in control of things. And I think that you saying, and she's angry and she's mad, and those are the things you guys need to start talking about. Otherwise, it will be doomed for failure. Jim, you were talking though. What else do you have to say?
What the reason why you have to be so strict about listening, paying attention, and not interrupting is because this has to be a safe place for that person to talk, for both of you to talk, but especially for the person who's moving away, because that way they can really feel heard and really feel respected. I went through like 6 months of just listening to my second wife gripe and complain about what an awful person I was until she finally said to me, you're making it awfully hard for me not to love you. And I thought, oh, good, I'm making progress. I'm finally getting through to her. I never said anything back to her. I never replied, never retorted in any way while she attacked me and just tore me apart. But I was trying hard to repair that relationship, which, of course, it did never get repaired. But that's a different story. Anyway, we got to sign you off.
But it's helpful.
We got other things to go to.
All right. Well, good luck to you, and keep us posted.
Thank you,
I
Johnny.
will. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Good luck.
Bye.
Clearly, I'm not going to get to the topic today, so we're going to have to, because we have other callers, right? So we're going to have to do a.
We have one more on the system that we haven't talked to yet.
All right. Do you want to bring her on the air a bit? I'm not going to be able to do it in 10 minutes. What I wanted to discuss.
You've got 20 minutes.
Well, do you want me to talk, or should we take this caller? Let's take the caller.
Okay.
Let's take the caller, and then if I have time.
Marcia?
Right, huh? I didn't know. Hey.
Marcia? Hi. Hi.
Hey, can you hear me?
You're on the air. Welcome here. Can you tell us what's going on with you? What's your story?
Well, I just started a new travel assignment, and I just wanted to know what do you see as far as that going?
So you started a new job? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm a travel nurse.
Oh.
And I just I picked up assignment in Texas, Dallas, Texas.
Oh, wow. I like this. I'm actually feeling really good about this. I like this a lot. I do. To me, it feels like it has a very strong potential for, what is it, like a 6-month gig or something like that?
Well, it's a minimum 4 weeks, but if they need you can just keep renewing and staying.
There's a very good potential, very, very good potential that you're going to be there more than 4 weeks. I feel almost like once you get in, they won't let you out. And that could be a good thing or not such a good thing.
Yeah, the phone went out. I didn't hear that last part. You said there's a very good potential what?
That once you get in, they're not going to let you out. So there's a very good chance that this is going to be extended beyond 4 weeks if you want it. If you feel comfortable there. Is this like emergency room kind of stuff?
I'm in the ICU.
Oh, okay. That's why
it's a smaller hospital, but it's at the ICU. But yeah.
I actually feel it has the potential to go much longer, and it feels to me that there might even be the opportunity for it to turn into a full-time position if you wanted it. But I don't feel it's going to be just 4 weeks. It has the potential of being a lot longer. Are you traveling from far away? Or are you going to relocate?
Carolina.
Oh, so you're flying there like...
Yeah, I'm flying here from North Carolina. I don't have a reason not to relocate. Like, if I'm single, so if I was to meet somebody, I would relocate for that reason. Other than that, I'll just keep traveling.
Right. Well, I kind of feel you're going to be traveling for a while because I feel they're going to want you to stay on. So how long have you been there?
I just got here Monday night.
And how are you feeling
I haven't
about
been here
it?
long.
How are you feeling
I
about
like it so far. I haven't started yet, but I like it so far here in Texas.
She did really well.
My goodness. Well, you got a second chance at life. I was in 2 car accidents, and I
accepted it. You'd be very happy there. I know you said you're not ready to make that move yet, but there is a potential that's going to happen.
Right. I definitely want to stay longer than 4 weeks.
You're gonna. I mean, I almost don't see the possibility of them letting you go after 4 weeks. I mean, anything is possible, and especially in today's day and age. But I don't see that possibility for you. I see much more long term than that. So good luck with it. Good luck, and let us know how things turn out. But I feel you're going to be there longer, much longer. And I don't even mean just like 8 weeks. I mean 6 months minimum, and it could turn full time.
Right. That's exactly what I wanted. Thank you.
Well, you're going to get it. All right. Thank you. Good luck to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Is that all our callers for tonight?
That's it.
All right. So, how much time do I have? 15 minutes. I've got like 30 pages here. I don't even know where to start.
That's 2 pages a minute.
I can't talk that fast. All right. So one thing I do want to mention is that fear of commitment itself isn't a psychological term, and it isn't a psychological ailment. Usually fear of commitment is tied into other psychological issues. It could be behavioral personality disorders. It could be abandonment issues. It could be low self-esteem. It could be an assortment of other issues. But it in itself, like to being phobic of something, there's usually an underlying cause that causes the phobia. And when I was talking to Paul earlier about that mysterious text that he got, it doesn't really matter if he feels, or whoever that person was, if they feel like they are afraid or not afraid. It's a limitation, and that limitation is something that needs to be looked at and needs to be addressed. What did Jim say before? How does that make you feel? If I worked with that person who texted that message, or the recipient of that, I would ask you, imagine that you made that commitment. How does that make you feel? Imagine you said, okay, let's get married. How does that make you feel?
Clenched is how it makes me feel.
Right. I'm going to send you something offline that my trauma therapist gave me to work with that I did last night, and I found it amazing. It's a guided meditation, but it's different than anything I've ever heard. Look, I have advanced certification in hypnotherapy, and when she was telling me about this, I'm thinking, oh God, here we go. But I loved it. I loved it. And then she said the dirty word, affirmations, because I don't believe in affirmations because I know you do, Jim, but I don't, because I feel if I'm saying I am, what should I say that I'm not? I am a multimillionaire. And I'm going, no, you're not. You know, like, no, you're not. It's never going to happen. Then how is that affirmation really going to change me? They say by repetition it does. But her way of doing affirmations was different. She's asking those inner questions. And I was blown away. I'm telling you, I was totally blown away in a good way.
That's a whole other show. We should really talk about that, because using words and affirmations, they are that I believe in 100%, because it's worked so many times. And it's like, if you really want to talk about
for you,
yeah, for me. But I believe in it. I believe in it. Well, let's say, all right, after my first marriage, people would say, well, do you have any contact with your ex-wife? And I said, no. I said, but I wish her the best, and I'm going to keep on saying that until it's true.
Right. And that is a way of self brainwashing ourselves.
Yeah.
But you also let go of your hurt and your anger and your resentment and all that other stuff by saying it, and eventually you got to believe it. Right.
Yeah, there's something about, people say that the universe was created by frequency and vibration, that God said, let there be light. And that is actually something real, that creation comes into form through vibration and sound. So
I believe that 100%.
You're actually you're manifesting through sound. So I really believe that. It's a sense of, they say the magic word. Well, the magic word is any word. If you say it and repeat it, it will become reality, because you have that is a power we have that we don't recognize. You can call it an affirmation or whatever, but it's like you're creating reality with audio. Thoughts are things.
Power. And it's all, but see, what I feel is it's all the frequency. If you didn't make that statement saying, I wish her well, and wanting to wish her well, I don't believe it would have had, if you just said, all right, I wish her well, I wish her well, I wish her well, but you didn't have that belief that you wanted to wish her well. I don't feel it would have worked the same way.
Exactly. Like, I think I wanted to, but at the time I didn't feel that way. I was very angry and hurt after my first marriage. So when someone said, how do you feel? It's like, well, I wish her well, and I'm going to keep saying that until it's true. Because I was putting the effort into it. Like, I wanted to change the way I felt.
I think that's the better affirmation. The better affirmation is to say, I want to wish her well.
Right. So the intention behind it. But it worked for me because
it's not false to say I want to wish her well.
I know. I'm thinking about that. I actually like that, Jim, a lot.
That
one doesn't repel me. That one aligns with me.
I think what Jill was saying is
whatever.
Her resistance to affirmations is her inner voice is going to challenge something. If she says, oh, I'm beautiful, her inner voice is going to go, oh, you're not. No, you're not. Right?
You're going to be a commitment issue.
I think you're beautiful. No, I'm saying if you say something like that, your inner voice is always going to be challenging you.
But you're right.
So that's where I feel like maybe you don't believe in affirmations, because your strong inner voice is going to challenge those.
That
and you feel like
correct.
It's not going to work because.
That is exactly why I don't. And plus, I know millions of people have tried affirmations and they don't believe what they're saying. Therefore, they don't create it.
Right.
Somehow you have to believe it, and that's why I like what Jim said. I want to. Believe, blah, 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 blah. But Jim, you are much more of an advocate for affirmations, because you've mentioned it on the show before to do affirmations. So I want to hear from you.
But I think that says it all. It's not about lying to yourself or convincing yourself that you're a millionaire or something like that. That's a different kind of magic. And I'm not addressing it when I'm talking about affirmations. We know how to do that.
A lot of people do that. I am wealthy. I have a Rolls Royce or whatever.
Yeah.
My voice would be going, yeah, right.
Yeah.
I don't have a Rolls Royce.
Which destroys the whole possibility for that to ever work.
Exactly. That's why it doesn't work for me.
But we're trying to do interior alchemy. We're trying to make gold out of lead here, and that's the way we do that, because you're talking to a part of your mind that's very subtle and very hard to reach, and it's very automatic. And so to be able to give these kinds of messages in a way that's unquestionable and at the same time has a hidden oomph behind it, like I want to wish her well. That says a lot, and that helps to reprogram the way you think about her, and it might have made it come even faster.
What I want to say to you is, and Jim, you know how I struggled with the loss of my dogs.
Yes.
Through everything. And you and I had about a 4-hour Skype call in probably December because I was so fearful of January.
Mm-hmm.
And we had that Star of Bethlehem configuration. And I went out in my front yard and I did a cleansing ritual and healing ritual because of the power of that day and the intent. And also my friend Lisa, who is a holistic vet and a healer down here, she and I did another thing by
Excellent.
the French Broad River. And my whole intent was to be able to mourn and grieve and face the reality and heal.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe I succeeded in doing.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's totally done because I still talk about it a lot, but man, am I a lot better. And I'm sitting here with Coco and China's ashes right over here, which was a big deal. I had it hidden in the corner of my bathroom because I couldn't deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
So that to me is intention. My intent was to heal myself and to free myself from the grieving and the pain. And you talk about trust. I had so many vets make mistakes along the way, so many vets, that my dogs would still be alive if they would have listened. Like Jim knows, I'm a healer, he's a healer, I'm intuitive. I know, and nobody would listen to me. Nobody would listen to me. So that was a lot for me to process. But the intent, and I think that's why you were successful, that your intention. See, we need to do a show on intention, affirmations, and fear of commitment. Since we didn't get anywhere today.
We did. We got somewhere. Don't say that.
Yeah, we got somewhere.
No, I thought it was a great show.
Yeah.
No, I think it was great, but there's a lot of things that I want. All right, let me sum this up with any commitment issue, which follows any relationship issues. The single most important thing in resolving any of it is what Jim and I were talking about before, and that's communication. And it's not yelling, it's not the tug of war kind of communication. It's hearing and being compassionate and understanding, having empathy for the other person's perspective. You might believe wholeheartedly in you're right, but hear and understand what the issue is with your partner. So if you have a relationship phobic or a partner that isn't ready to commit, have a conversation with that person, just like I would have in a therapy session with that person, but be open about really talking about what you're afraid of, and have that dialogue. But I feel it's all about communication. All of these things, if you read through all my notes, is all about being able to communicate openly and honestly with your partner and hearing them. Most people think talking and communicating is about sharing, but it's not just sharing what you feel, it's hearing what another person feels. And I'll tell you what I feel is the most productive kind of communication is to hear someone's fears and to be empathetic towards them. Do you do you agree? We're over. The show's over, and I didn't even get started.
Well,
I tried.
The key to hearing is to have empathy. Is to try and fit that feeling into yourself and see how it feels. You know?
I like that. That's a good closing. That's a great closing.
Well, we definitely need to explore this further because, let's do a part 2 after the next show because this has a lot of good stuff.
And also affirmations and intention. I don't know if we could do it together or if they're separate shows, but I think we brought up some really good points today.
Yeah, I think we need another fear commitment because there's a lot of information here that we didn't get to.
I know.
Okay, so we want to thank all our listeners and viewers and those who called in tonight. We really enjoyed hearing your stories, and we appreciate you. Our next show is on Thursday, September 2nd at 8 p.m., and the topic is Resistance, the True Cause of Emotional Pain. I think Jim's going to be all over this one. That sounds very Zen, very Buddhist.
Oh, dear.
Right? I think that's going to have your name all over it.
I don't know if I'm going to be all over this or not. We're going to have to talk about this.
Well, I will be.
So mark your calendars.
We'll
be sure to join us.
We'll share the topic. Go ahead.
And we have lots of great topics in queue, and we welcome your suggestions. Email us at radioshow@ladyfontaine.com. And a very special thanks to Mike, again, for helping us out this evening with screening callers. It is deeply appreciated. Both Jim and I are freed up to do a lot more of our jobs when we're not screening calls. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Please visit Lady Fontaine at ladyfontaine.com for a reading or a life coaching session. I am a strong proponent of that, and I can give you a testimonial anytime on how good that's going for me. And for those listeners in New York, visit Jim at East West Healing Arts in Hartsdale, New York. Website is eastwesthealing.info. Facebook page is at /East West Healing Arts. I have my own show on bulldogradio.com on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time called 6 Degrees. And we just want to all say good night. Thank you, and we look forward to seeing you on September 2nd, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Eye on the Future. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Do we have a cue out?
That's it. That's the cue out.
Oh, there it is.
And hold on, we're still live.
Another great show, thanks to our callers and our hosts. Be sure to follow us here on Blog Talk Radio and on Facebook. Check back regularly for info on our next show here on Blog Talk Radio on Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Listen to the podcast anytime here or on iTunes. Signing off from all of us here on Eye on the Future. Blessings and namaste.